Today, but I wanted to tell you about upcoming programs, which I think you really like. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, August 13th, I'm going to be devoting the entire program to the trumpeter Hannibal. Not a known commodity here, there, and everywhere, but Hannibal plays a lot of trumpet, a very unique individual voice, and also very spiritual energy. I got turned on to Hannibal in the mid-'70s when he was playing with Roy Haynes. And I was writing for Downbeat at the time. I ended up hanging out with him and writing about him, doing a profile. 76, 77, something like that. He put out his own recordings, played some with Gil Evans, and then haven't really heard from him, but he's still been out there, still doing it. So tomorrow, we're going to talk more about Hannibal and play some of his music, which is his music. On Friday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be joined by the jazz scholar, Louis Porter. Louis is an old friend. I say that usually before these broadcasts start because most of the people I've been interviewing and doing the shows with are friends of mine. So I have a pretty wonderful list of friends. I have some enemies too. In fact, I have a lot of enemies. Anyway, Friday, the jazz scholar is going to be here, and Louis Porter. He's been a teacher. He's a pianist, a musician, taught at Rutgers, knows a lot about John Coltrane and Miles Davis, wrote a wonderful book about Coltrane. I don't know if he's done one about Miles. So Louis is going to play the piano a bit. We'll talk about Train. We'll talk about Miles. Two of my favorite subjects, to say the least. Fascinating people. Louis always has some interesting insights into the musicians and the music, and we'll look forward to sharing those with you. On next Thursday, August 20th, The Secret Life of a Jazz Publicist, Don Lucoff. Don has been on the jazz scene since the 90s. He started as a DJ and did some work on the Playboy Jazz Festival. I don't think that's happening anymore. Maybe next year it'll come back. And then ended up moving to New York and becoming a publicist and working for many years with Blue Note Records and many great artists. He has some fantastic stories to tell. No X-rated ones. I think he has some of those. Maybe I should tell some of my X-rated stories. Come on over to Jazz Come Over and watch the jazz video. Okay. And next Friday, Mike Abene is going to be my guest. Mike is an arranger. He's a pianist. I first got hip to Mike in the mid-'60s when he was playing with Maynard Ferguson. I think he worked with Maynard from 62 to 65, something like that. Wrote a lot of those great charts. Some of my favorite charts, including his chart for On Green Dolphin Street that Maynard recorded, and other people have played since then. And he's done a lot of arranging for many people, and he was the in-house composer, conductor for the WDR Big Band for many years. Recently gave that post up to Bob Mintzer. So Bob, Bob is too, but Mike is really the arranger's arranger. And we're looking forward to sharing some time with him. Next week after that, Friday, August 28th, I'm going to devote a show to Long Tall Dexter Gordon, one of the great tenor players in music, in jazz. Nominated for Academy Award for his acting. Talk a little bit about that. And thankfully, there's a lot of video of Dexter. Dexter left the United States for Europe for many years, and did a lot of video in Europe because European TV stations weren't shy about putting jazz on TV. They recorded a lot. On Saturday, August 29th, I'm going to do a Charlie Parker Memorial program. Still lining up the guests for that. Unfortunately, my friend Walter Bishop Jr., who played with Bird, is no longer with us. He had some great stories to tell about Bird. I know WKCR in New York does a day-long Charlie Parker Festival. I think Lester Young has his birthday a day or two before or after. They do kind of a joint festival, which is fantastic. WKCR.org. Highly recommended. And then the week after that, September 5th, my friend Denny Zeitlin is going to join us. He is a pianist, also a psychiatrist. Kind of an interesting combination. Denny is now 82. I first got turned on to Denny Zeitlin in the mid-'60s on the recording Flute Fever that Jeremy Steig did. One of those jump out of the speakers recordings, not only for Jeremy Steig's flute, but Denny's piano. So I've been a fan of Denny since the mid-'60s. And Denny's a guy who marches to the beat of his own drum. I mean, he was a pianist, is a pianist, and also a psychiatrist and a teacher. Interesting guy. He's also a fly fisherman. He's a wine connoisseur. I've been in his wine cellar, and I've had dinner with him where he had 3 or 4 different wines depending on what the course was. He's a wine connoisseur supreme. On September 7th is the 90th birthday of Sonny Rollins. I put up a video recently by the saxophonist Jed Levy of an excerpt from Freedom Suite. That's the recording that Sonny did where he addressed in his liner notes some of the issues of racism in America. And he wrote and performed that music, which no one else to my knowledge has performed except recently Jed and Craig Handy, who with his beard resembled Sonny Rollins. They played the entire suite, and I put up a video for part of that. We're going to show that on the show. Jed Levy and I are going to talk a little bit about Sonny and that recording. More shows coming. The schedule's a little light at this point. I'm working on a documentary film, which regular viewers probably know about, which is taking up a certain amount of time. But who knows what's coming in life and on the Jazz Video Guy YouTube channel. I've started cutting up, editing the Jazz Video Guy live. I realize these programs are an hour long. People don't necessarily want to watch that. They don't have the time. So I'm cutting them into sections. And this week I posted Christian Sands, the great young jazz pianist, former Billy Taley's protege. I posted, oh, thank you, Seth. He says, you are interesting enough to watch and listen to without that green screen. Well, I could take it off. Let's see. Where's my green screen button? Ah, that's ugly. I'm back. So anyway, Christian Sands, 3 or 4 videos coming up from his series, and also Dave Liebman. I've got a bunch of Dave Liebman videos. I put the first one up today where he talks about Coltrane live, seeing Coltrane. And I also posted Dave in the mid to late 90s did performances of John Coltrane's Meditations. And he did one at the Berlin Jazz Festival in '99. I just posted it a little while ago with guest Sonny Fortune, Tiger Oaks, trumpet player, Tiger Okoshi. Yeah, so that is worth watching, definitely. And more Dave Liebman coming up, where he talks about a number of things. He's a very well-spoken man, Mr. Dave Liebman. So thank you for your support of my music. I mean, my videos, not my music. Stay tuned and try to join me tomorrow for Hannibal and Friday for Lewis Porter. I want everyone to be healthy and safe. Please take care. Don't watch TV news. Disregard everything you see about that on the internet. Positive energy here. Love is the answer, definitely. Always has been and always will be.